Hola amigos, de este tiempo vamos a jugar con el tipo que se llama Ciryl Gane. Obviously, we're talking about using Ciryl Gane. He's main eventing this weekend. El hombre del cereal. El cereal que lo llevaron para afuera. Mr. Ciryl Gane. That thumbnail, the title that Marshall had cracked me up. But, he's going against Sergey Spivak. Now, some early losses in Spivak's career against Marcin Tybura. And I believe Walt Harris might kind of tell you, yeah, this is probably going to be a wash for Ciryl Gane. But, he's on a solid win streak. Shows a pretty good submission game. And as we know, with all the great striking, a lot of the great movement that Ciryl Gane has, he's shown a lot of holes with his grappling fundamentally, right? And as much as of an athletic specimen that he is, he's still privy to making a couple mistakes. And if Spivak is able to get Ciryl Gane down to the ground, there's a good chance that Ciryl might make a costly mistake and risk himself getting submitted. Now, of course, that's not what Ciryl Gane wants. He wants to erase that horrible performance against Jon Jones where he got submitted in the first round. Part of what really made that submission not necessarily a surprise. If anything, it was pretty clear after the Ngannou fight. No knees Ngannou, who was able to control Gane on the ground for quite some time. And then, just a bit of the decision-making of Ciryl on the ground is not exactly the best. On the feet, the dude is a marvel to watch. Especially, his fights against Volkov, his fights against Derek Lewis, his fights against Tai Tuivasa, even outside of getting dropped in that fight. But the weakness is there, right? It's the groundwork. And it is very important for Ciryl to try and get this win against Sergey Spivak. Now, there's a couple things that I think Spivak's entries aren't the craziest. Nice combo. But it's good enough to where if Ciryl tries to overcommit on a cross, kind of akin to what he did to Jones, it's easier to give up a takedown when all of your weight is committed forward. Even if you are a phenomenal grappler, it's just the way physics work. It just makes it that much harder to defend without having to scramble out. So with Ciryl too, one thing that was an issue when Jon Jones had taken him down. First, he opted to kind of just stand right up, right? He's been accustomed to standing right back up, using his physicality as a means to kind of bypass most of the technique when it comes to standing up. And Jon Jones, being the quality wrestler that he is, JUCO national champ, obviously able to wrestle pretty well in the octagon and in MMA. He has accomplishments out the wazoo. And, Ciryl's obviously trying to stand up again, but very low energy. Mat return from Jon Jones. He stays very glued to his back. And Ciryl Gane gets impatient, tries to go up again, gets caught up against the fence, doesn't fight the hands of Jon Jones, and I believe it was a guillotine submission. It was a guillotine, right? Or some type of face crank or guillotine. I mean, those things are mean. I could be recalling incorrectly, but the case in point is, I really hope that Gane has made the right adjustments, right? The right adjustments in his grappling, because a lot of times when we go into the practice room, we do a lot of what we're comfortable, and of course we can never forget about our A game, right? We can't forget about what we do best, but it's also important that you train for situations where you're not going to be the hammer. You have to train when you're going to be in positions where you're the nail. Myself, especially heading into my own MMA career for quite some time, I always try to just practice positions where there's a good chance. Never have an ego to think that you're never going to be put in a position. There's going to be a time where, you could slip. We saw it in The Ultimate Fighter. I think it was homeboy from Boston, right? Rico DeSchulo or something like that. He slipped, gave up his back to Cody Gibson, and that just made the world of a difference, and it was just a tough, smothering top game to get away from. So you got to prepare for all types of scenarios. Jon Jones had also prodded at the fact that Ciryl Gane was almost a little bit too lax leading up to the bout against Jon Jones, saying, I don't really train as much. He's done just enough. Ciryl Gane has some looping overhands he likes to hit. If he does commit forward, he'll use some head movement to kind of circle, take his head off the center line, and of course the feints, right? Like right there. The feint set up a lot of his kicks. When he gets you to kind of freeze and watch him, he is going to paint a very, very beautiful picture with your face in the octagon. And he will get aggressive and pursue the finish if it's optimal. I think it was against Jairzinho Rosenstrike. I think that one was not necessarily. It was a tactical performance, not the greatest performance, but it was a very shut down Jairzinho. Never really overcommitted to too many combinations, but just had him at the end of a piston of a jab and never allowed him to build upon anything else. And Jairzinho was kind of just stuck like a deer in the headlights. Volkov gave him a little bit more issues on the feet. Volkov is also a quality fighter, but he ended up winning that fight pretty decisively. And one bout I really want to see, I want to see this bout, right? We see the Spivak and Gane. If he's able to actually dispatch of Sergey Spivak, I want to see Ciryl Gane versus Tom Aspinall. So Tom Aspinall obviously has better BJJ, better offensive MMA wrestling than Ciryl Gane. But I love to see. I would just love to see them fight, right? Because I think that would make a clearer contender. Because I don't know if John Jones is going to stay. If he beats Stipe Miocic, which is, realistically speaking, it's very likely. It's very likely he's going to beat Stipe. I'll be very surprised if Stipe gets the win. He's training with some good people, I know. But even with those people that he's training with, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Woo, swinging, banging them hooks. But with Stipe, if Stipe gets the win, then, that's going to be an auto rematch for John Jones. They're going to be, wow, how's John Jones going to bounce back from his actual first loss type of thing, right? Not the DQ loss that he has. More so if John Jones wins, if he actually decides to stay in the division. I want to see, if Gane wins against Spivak, Tom Aspinall just recently won. I want to see them two fight, right? Now, if Gane wins against Aspinall, it would be very unlikely that Jones will stay around and fight that guy. I'd rather see Jones fight against Sergey Pavlovich. But that being said, it's just there's a lot on the line, and these fights are going to be starting early, less than 10 hours from now. Yeah, we're up a little bit late. I'll tell you something. I OD'd Thursday. I trained for I wrestled for 2 hours, a little bit more than that. And then I did jiu-jitsu right after that for almost another 2 hours or so. And bro, when I tell you, it's been a while since I've done that. So then I hit the hot yoga in the morning. And then I was just chilling. My body was just yo, I gotta chill. I was doing a little bit too much. Just getting right back into where I need to be for competition. So breakfast lands. But on the bright side, it gives me time to get the showcase done. I was supposed to get Volkan Ozdemir too, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do something for him after, assuming he wins. The guy he's facing is actually pretty solid, though. So, the movement. Cyryl's very fun to use. Oof. But it's just the heavyweights just feel. They always feel a little bit too slow. You'll see some of the whipping shots a lot of these heavyweights do in their fights, and I feel like the heavyweight and light heavyweight divisions don't really capture a lot of the speed. Jamal Hill, the dude has a whipping goddamn cross of a hand, and you don't really get that effect in light heavyweight. So I hope they change something in the next game, to modify the speed in those weight class. Obviously not to make them super speedy like a bantamweight or something, but closer to the middleweight speed or something. Doing a good job circling away. I love, dude, using Ciryl. The challenge of using Ciryl the way that he fights is very, very fun. Uh-oh. Got him down. And we get him out. Yes, we do. Made a little mistake throwing that body kick in the pocket. See, he kind of fell into that trap where he was kind of watching me a little bit too much. I think one thing that, a lot of players, it gets to that point where they're so kind of scared to commit. They're just kind of watching you and then just hoping all right, maybe if I chuck this out, I'll get something to you. So he was doing enough defensively where he wasn't allowing himself to get blown out of the water in terms of damage, but he was definitely not going to win on the scorecard. So I'm happy we got him out of there because we still have about 20 minutes left before we try to get into another fight. But that's quality. That's some quality work with Mr. Ciryl Gane. Look at this guy, Mr. One of my friends calls him like the Waffle Warrior. the waffle toned warrior. I'm like, you motherfucker. That's actually, I thought about it. That's some hilarious shit. But I'll be right back with y'all. I'm gonna try to get one more fight, and hopefully I get light heavyweight so I can get some Volkanovski reaction too. So be right back. Kidoki. I fought you before. I have fought you before. Oof, that's weird. It says 50 MS, but I don't like how it kind of started there. But look at this. I was talking about a Tom Aspinall matchup. Oof. Oh, he went down on the left stick. Okay. Well then. I was talking a little bit earlier about this matchup. And I felt like, Aspinall is obviously the better grappler between the two of them. This is the right course of action. I ain't mad at it. Oh. Look. Okay. Well, what we got to be careful about is the side control Kimura and the arm triangle. Recover guard. Denied that. See, that forces him to move. There we go. I'm happy to reverse. Nice that. Pop, pop, pop. See the sweep. Alright, there we go. Now, I don't want to stay down in the ground for too long. Tom Aspinall has a really, really good submission offense stat. And I remember Ciryl Gane lost a bit on the submission defense against Jones. And it wasn't... That was one of those losses, submission defense-wise. I look at a couple things when it comes to submission defense, right? What is the guy looking for when he's defending a submission? And submission defense doesn't necessarily always have to be when the guy's in the submission, because every person that trains jiu-jitsu or even wrestling or whatnot, the best way not to get caught in is to not get caught in that position in the first place. But for those who get caught in, the submission wasn't too deep, and it was just it showed a lot of novice work on the ground with regards to his he didn't go and try to fight the hands off rip. So definitely, I don't remember what the stats were, but it's definitely not the best. And this is a pressuring as Masvidal. I said Masvidal. Aspinall. Excuse me. Oof. So we're gonna play smart. Play smart. Still try to be a little bit creative, but try to do a lot of body work. Try to snipe as much as we can with Ciryl. He's liking that lead uppercut to the cross, so we'll keep a mental note of that. And notice we're trying to circle. We got to make sure we don't get pinned up against the octagon. It's one of the worst spots. Oh, come on. Oh, okay. One of the worst spots to be in. Like, you will get shredded. If your back gets caught against there and the opponent, especially if they have somebody like Masvidal. Why do I keep saying fucking Masvidal? Aspinall. Maybe it's the idol. Aspinall. You're going to get absolutely wrecked. Or especially against like a Sergey too, which I'm glad we didn't run into, to be honest with you. Like, Celtic Cross is nasty. Or Celtic Cross, however you pronounce it. Rock him. Now I'm going to take my time. I'm going to force a finish. And that's one of the key things too. The risk management in terms of striking for Ciryl Gane, it's pretty quality. Outside of getting dropped by Taito Ibasa, that was like his one blemish in that entire fight. That was a fight that he was definitely supposed to win, and he passed out with flying colors, and it was an exciting fight too. It wasn't what a lot of people say, oh, he's just going to jab around him and kick his legs, which I always find the dismissiveness of leg kicks to be very, very odd, because them bitches hurt. Like, anybody that trains will tell you, yo, those leg kicks hurt. Like, a lot of fighters, they'll poker face it, but believe me, no shin guards, and they're landing on your flesh with their shin, or even worse, or they're landing on your calf, them motherfuckers hurt. And I'd like to see a lot more impact on, like, locomotion or something with, like, repeated leg kick damage. Like, just to kind of match the stamina, too. Because a lot of times when it comes to, when you're taking a lot of leg kick damage, right, and I'm using somebody like Gane, right, and I want to, like, make your footwork slower, right, and you're only, my little spike. chill. Just gonna chill. Well, like the best way, like you know, if you're the guy's kicking the shit out of your legs, it becomes a lot harder to move laterally, right? Like just move laterally. Just gonna stay out here. But then your best option is to really only go forward, and that's what we saw. You know, Dustin Poirier against Justin Gaethje in their first bout. He just kind of conceded and said, "Look, I gotta keep pressing forward because if I give this guy the space to keep working these kicks, he's going to absolutely wreck me." And a lot of players, when it comes to chasing them, or that they're kind of like hanging back and waiting for like the hard counter, that's a lot of what their game is revolved around. And the leg kicks will do a good job with the right matchups to slow those fighters down. Yeah, body teep, nice combo. Yeah, this doesn't make sense why he's spiking like this. This was like a 49 MS fight. It's weird. So I'm keeping at the end of our feints. And the other thing too is because I'm pretty aware of most of like the meta setups, it's very important. There we go. That you don't counter off rip every single time somebody throws the 1-2. Sometimes your best option is to disengage. The point of disengagement is very, very key. Like being able to be defensively sound even without the block and without using head movement is a huge thing, especially heading into the next game cycle. I would implore a lot of new players to get good at being able to obviously defend with head movement, right? Without question. But it's really important that you guys like learn and really get into the concept of being able to use your footwork with certain fighters. Of course, we have these beautiful oblique kicks too. And what I love about that rear oblique kick, it disguises the rear body kick. Rear body teep very, very well. So you can kind of use that, kind of scare them into range. And the way it brings up the knee, you can also hide a high kick behind it. Nope. I've also been trying to like punish. Jesus. I'm trying to punish people when I see them lift up their lead leg. He's frustrated. They lift up their lead leg and they try to go into like a little super speed feint where they glide across the octagon. So I'm just looking like, if I see that lead leg feint, I'm just ready to just plant a cross down the middle. Just plant the cross, and counter him that way. But overall, head kick wasn't good. We got to rock back, but that head kick was risky. Not risky, dangerous for us. Opponent's hurting. I think for now, we're going to have to probably going to have to try to... Let's try and stick a move. Let's try and stick a move for a bit. There we go. Stick and move. Stick and move. There we go. Shall lead a lot with the cross. Okay, that's the response we got. Circle. Yeah, look at this idol, bro. Motherfucker's floaty as hell. So right. Pick your shots. Stick and move. Stick and move, Ciryl, man. There you go. We're just gonna draw him in. We're gonna make sure we don't get pushed back all the way. So we gotta circle back.
Well, we'll see if he can turn this defense
that lateral front kick is so stupid.
As of right now, he's thinking more defensively.
Pop him again. Stick and move.
Not taking any damage.
1-2. There you go. Pop him with another cross. Yeah, this is working. Especially against the grapplers, like shots down the middle. Shots that don't require like a heavy commitment. And where you can kind of just interrupt your opponent in their tracks. Especially if there's somebody looking to grapple you. Ciryl Gane's going to need to be like a sniper, which he's more than capable of doing. Spivak is probably going to look to collide, crash into him for some type of cage grappling exchanges. There's a head kick. But I think Ciryl's going to have to really, really get on his bicycle. Keep him at the end of his punches. Of course, throwing a couple of light kicks. And either, if Ciryl TKO, I don't know if Ciryl TKO him. It's very possible, but it's been a while since he's been finished. But I can definitely see him, circling around decision-wise. Body. Body again. Oh, it's a good animation. Well, sound, not animation. There we go. There we go. Yeah. He reached way too hard. He overextended himself there. We got sniped. Respect? Okay, we recognize that. Alright, that's going to be it for Mr. Ciryl, man. By the time you guys see this, I think it'll be a little bit before the main card. I'll probably choose to unlist this by then. And when you guys see this, let me know your predictions. If you guys know much about Spivak, let me know if you have him winning, how he's going to do it. I'd like to see Ciryl win, but I can 100% see Spivak getting a submission victory over Gane, especially after watching a little bit more of his decision-making when he's in the octagon. It's grappling-wise. But he's more. If there's anybody that's more than capable of running circles around Sergey Spivak, it's Ciryl Gane, and he'll make the French folk proud. But that's going to be it. Mayor 17, I appreciate all of you. Much love. Take care.